Hey guys, welcome back to Charlotte Mortgage Insight. So maybe you're out looking for houses and you have found the perfect one for you, and maybe the roof is a little bit older, and you go to call your homeowners insurance company and they say, hey, by the way, based upon the age of that roof, we cannot put insurance on that property. Guys, I'm bringing this to you from personal experience. So about 18 months ago, I had a listing and buyers made an offer and we were going down the road. Everything was fine. The buyer's agent called and said, hey, my client's having a hard time getting insurance. And I said, oh, what's the reason for that? And she says that the roof is older and the insurance company won't finance it. And I said, no, I've never heard this before. What's going on? And actually, it was true. These particular buyers had to find an alternative insurance company to get insurance, and they paid handsomely for that. So I'm bringing this up to you because it was new to me. And so in a conversation with Steven, not long after, I said, hey, have you ever heard about this? And Steven's like, oh yeah, this is something that's come across my desk a few times. I'm like, where is this coming from? So Steven, I mean, how many times has this happened to you?
Well, anytime, Brian, with both of us having over 20 years in our respective fields, we have like a wow, we've never heard about that. That's something that we want to bring to the channel because this industry is ever changing, right? And it's driven by compliance. And I kind of view insurance as a form of compliance and they adapt, right? So I don't understand all of it, but what I do understand makes sense to me, but it has changed where if a roof is in year 19 out of 20, then the company is going to insure it for that last year, not for all the 19 years that the previous owner had. And so that's changed the way they write their policies. And when we try to do a pre-approval, we don't control who the customer uses for insurance. They get to choose. And then we put it in place, put a mortgagee clause and protect everything. But we do a generic quote, right? So, on a $200,000 house, we would say insurance is probably going to be $100 a month, or a $300,000 house, it's probably going to be $150, $175 a month. Just a rough calculation. All of a sudden, if that roof is over its life expectancy, that quote can now be double or triple. And so we have to be very careful because sometimes our loan approvals are so tight on the debt to income requirements that we don't have an extra $100 to spare. And the house itself is bringing that, newfound information, but we do want to bring on an expert. So we're going to reach out to some of our local providers because there's lots of local insurance providers and really take a deep dive into this. But it's something that prior to this year, it was not something we ever talked about. But when you're on the home hunt, and especially with you guys, Brian, on the real estate agent side, it's a question we really need to ask early on when you've kind of identified the house, right?
Yeah, and in this particular situation, for the listing that I had, the agent came back and said, hey, we can't get it financed. Would your seller be willing to call the insurance company and see if they will come out from their perspective and replace the roof, And that way we can get a new roof on for the buyers, which was a perfect idea. Her insurance company came out and they said, no, we won't be replacing this roof. It's not that bad. So it's like, which one is it? So I think getting a professional in here from the insurance space will really clear up the mud on a lot of these questions. Not only that, but as we've noticed over the last couple of years, insurance premiums have gone up in general. So I'd like to get some clarity on that, what's causing those rates to go up, because that will have a big impact on people's qualifying. So like you mentioned, our customers get to choose who they want to use. And if we have estimated that their homeowner's insurance is going to be $1,200 a year, and it turns out to be $1,800 for multiple, carriers, that's a difference that can cause somebody's qualifying power to diminish. So
Yeah, and I remind people up front too, there's lots of different ways to set up your premium, right? So like when we take a guess, we are truly just guessing. But if you have lots of valuables that you need to put onto your homeowner's policy, that's going to drive up the premium. There's always options about deductibles, right? Most people know how deductibles work, right? You either take it now or you take it later, and that depends. That'll set your premium. Another thing that comes into play is also previous claims, right? Water claims go with the house, not the person. So sometimes you've done nothing. And I experienced this personally with a house that I owned, and it made my premium go up because the previous owner had a water claim. So Bringing on an industry expert that's, got 10, 20 years in the insurance, they'll be able to talk about how it was and what we're seeing now and really educate us, because it's one of the most important things. Because when you're financing and buying your single biggest investment, people discredit the insurance, but when you need it, it has to be there and it has to be right. And it's also part of the payment. So it all comes for full circle. So I'll be really excited to, get one of these local experts on here. But right now, we've both seen people want to buy a house, and all of a sudden the insurance, which is never, that's usually the easy button fix. Hey,
Yeah.
call whoever you use, I'm sure it's somebody your parents or you got a relationship with, and just get a policy real quick. No big deal. Well, all of a sudden that is a big deal. So anything that's a big deal in the home buying process, we want to identify and talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So guys, make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss these future videos we have with our homeowners insurance expert coming on the channel. And in the meantime, if you have specific mortgage questions or real estate questions, all of our contact information is below. But we thank you guys for tuning in today. Stay tuned. We got more coming, and hope you guys have a fantastic day.